And welcome back to America Talks Live. Right before the commercial break, we talked about the Mueller investigation and the new shakeups when it comes to Trump's legal team. That's where we want to welcome in our first guest this hour, Larry Klayman. He's a former federal prosecutor and the founder of Freedom Watch. As always, good to see you, Larry.
Good to see you too, Miranda.
Hey, Larry, how are you? It's John Cardillo. What do you make of
Hey, John.
How are you? What do you make of Emmett Flood now being added to Trump's legal team in place of Ty Cobb? Flood seems to have tremendous experience in dealing with, well, let's just call them what they are, government witch hunts, my opinion anyway. Do you think this is a welcome addition alongside Rudy Giuliani? Does this set the legal team back, or does it advance them forward?
I hope so. I have been advocating the replacement of Ty Cobb because I experienced Ty Cobb back in the late 1990s in the Chinagate scandal. He actually is a Democrat. He represented John Wang, a suspected Chinese spy that was being used to wire trade missions at the Commerce Department for $100,000 a pop to the Democratic National Committee in the Clinton-Gore re-election campaign. Cobb was the wrong guy. I've actually been on the other side of the table with him. He doesn't have the loyalty factor that's necessary. So I hope this guy's better. I don't know, but so far the legal team has done, I think, quite poorly, obviously. The president is painted into a corner right now, and he needs to take some strong action to fight his way out.
But is this the right choice? Because obviously people are going to equate this attorney with the Clinton impeachment trial. And does that send some sort of message, as I'm sure the left media will present, that this means that the president is concerned about impeachment, where really the president has never validated that notion really in public before?
He's talking about it now. I mean, look, the president understands reality. This is what I love about the guy. He doesn't hold back, and unfortunately, his lawyers have held back up to this point in time. You can't worry about appearances. He didn't engage in Russian collusion. He didn't engage in obstruction of justice. Robert Mueller is a political hack, in my opinion, who's doing the bidding of the establishments of both political parties in Washington, D.C. They both support him. And you've got Rosenstein at the Justice Department, who is conflicted. He should be out of this case based on his involvement with the Steele dossier and everything else. And then Jeff Sessions, attorney, been saying this, but he himself is going to be questioned by Mueller, or was questioned by Mueller, and the president wants to question the president about Sessions. So Sessions being under investigation himself as a subject or a target, obviously, for this alleged destruction of justice in the firing of Comey, he's worthless. The president needs to do what needs to be done. This reality.
Rosenstein's recent saying that Rosenstein fire Rosenstein, sideline Rosenstein, leave Rosenstein alone. How does Larry Klayman see Rosenstein?
I would order the Attorney General to fire Rosenstein, or if he doesn't do it yourself. Yes, this guy is an Obama holdover. He was a U.S. attorney in Maryland appointed by Obama. He is a swamp creature. He's an establishment person. He spent his whole life at the Justice Department. He's there to protect the Justice Department, not to bring about justice, so to speak. And he needs to go. And Sessions needs to go as well. He needs to resign. He's compromised. He has to do this in the best interest of the American people, or the president should fire him too. There's nothing wrong with that. And the suggestion I would make to the president, and I have a lawsuit that's pending, it's moving quickly through the courts, to find out about all these leaks of Mueller's office. Now we have questions that got out the other day. He's leaking grand jury information. That's criminal. I've asked the Inspector General through a complaint to investigate that. The president should order the Inspector General to go over Sessions' head, because he won't do anything, to conduct this investigation. And if we find out that Mueller has been leaking, he's going to have to resign. That'll end all of this.
Well, speaking of leaks, and again, we're still speculating, but as you know, the New York Times had that report the other day with 4 questions supposedly, coming from Mueller's investigative team to ask the president. It comes out today that it was Jay Sekulow, the president's attorney, who actually wrote those questions. Now, we don't know if Jay Sekulow actually released that information or released those questions to the New York Times, but it's possible. So if he did, we had a guest on the other day, and you kind of speculated, if he did, that would actually be a wise move on the president's behalf to go ahead and leak those questions.
It might be, but there have been so many leaks in the last year and a half. 1 or 2, 3 leaks a day. A lot of it's dealing with grand jury information. That didn't come from Jay Sekulow or Dowd or any of the other lawyers. That came from Mueller's office. And I have a lawsuit pending to get those documents. They can't be claimed as privileged. Communication by Mueller's office and the Justice Department, FBI with the media is not exempt under the Freedom of Information Act. So I'm pushing that case along, but the president should seek to get that information himself, because once we confirm that Mueller or his staff or both have been leaking, Mueller is going to have to go, because that is a crime. He should be investigated for that. You can't leak grand jury information, quite apart from what came out in the last few days with regard to questions to the president.
Well, I know, and we're running out of time, but real quickly, I know you've been pitching to become the next special counsel to investigate things like these leaks. Any phone calls?
No, I haven't had any phone calls yet, but I do know the White House knows what I'm doing. The thing about Larry Klayman, if I can use the third person, is I get the job done.
Why not?
That scares the establishment. That gets the establishment a little bit afraid in Washington, D.C., because, I would get rid of Mueller. I would have him, frankly, investigated, indicted for what he's done. I would go against Comey. I would go against the Clintons. It's time that we restore an equal system of justice to this country. We have enough evidence out there to have them put away for a very long time.
You have my vote, Larry.
Larry Klayman, as always, good to have you.